What if cancer didn't have to be a lifelong chase? What if we could stop treating only the symptoms? Could you imagine that? What a big difference that would be? And start finding the real drivers. So in this episode, I'll show you why root cause analysis plus precision oncology really is critically important, because that's what it does. It gets to the heart of that. I'm Dr. Dino Prato, founder of Envita Medical Centers. And in my clinical opinion, this is the key to ending cancer, is the precision. This is what I've seen with patients who've failed top hospitals across the United States. It's deep testing, finding exactly what you need, and then treating that with smart delivery. It's data. I always have this little acronym I like to use: data over dogma and personalization over averages, because that's what you're getting with double-blind placebo clinical trial care, or what we call standard oncology, or what they call, I would say, NCCN, National Comprehensive Cancer Network guidelines. It's just averages. It's not personalized. It's using 24 data points instead of 1,000, and that's huge. So where we're headed, I want to show you where we're headed in cancer, because I think there's hope by the grace of God in what's going on. Cancer may not be totally vanished in the way we think because of people's aging and cell mutation and mitochondrial or metabolism issues. But according to the American Cancer Society, the death rates of cancer have dropped by 34% since 1991. And a lot of that is because of stop smoking cessation, people not smoking anymore, which was a huge carcinogen, but also early detection and surgery. Really, it's the magic of taking it out does so much early. It prevents the treatment and the resistance and the suffering that can come later. But unfortunately, when we get to late stage cancers, we haven't seen that. When you look at a published paper we just did in 2024, people in standard oncology with late stage cancer had a 2% response palliative care versus much higher with precision medicine, closer to 72 to 75%. So it's just, we need to understand what people need. They need targeting. We can remove and destroy the cancer quickly when you get rid of it with surgery. And there's even cool techniques that we have today, very exciting techniques, I'd rather say, where we can use a blood test, screen for cancer, find it. As soon as we find the cancer using a blood test, that's it. It's called, it's almost like it's called a liquid biopsy. We just actually take the blood, you can look at 70 plus cancers, some are 50 plus cancer tests, and then we find it where it is with imaging, and then we can go in if it's small enough and just freeze it. We don't even need surgery. You just go in 45 minutes, freeze it, you're done. It's over. And then you're monitoring and you're improving looking at what the causative agents are, the chemicals, heavy metals, because you need to get rid of those things so they can bring other diseases later on in your life. And you can avoid oftentimes surgery. Sometimes you may need it depending on the size of the tumor, but this is the key to early detection. And when you have this technology, yes, we can see that cancer can disappear. If we test everybody, get to the tumor early, we can avoid so much pain and suffering. That's such a key thing. But in late stage cancers, we just haven't seen that improvement. I mean, you look at the oncology with all the billions of dollars spent in drugs, and you can watch my other episodes I've done, people's survival time is no more than adding 3.5 months after billions and billions spent. That's not a lot. And it is really, we could do better than that. And the answer to that is going to be root cause analysis, but also precision oncology. So why does root cause analysis matter? If we don't look at the cause, we end up chasing symptoms. It becomes like a whack-a-mole. You hit it, it comes back, it comes back. Root cause work is so huge because it's telling us what's driving the cancer biology. Remember, I've said cancer is biphasic. It has a mitochondrial component and it has a mutational component. If you remember from basic biology, mitochondria is the parts in your cell that give you energy. That switch turns off. It goes away from making ATP energy from oxygen and more from glucose and fermentation. And that's really important because it weakens immunity and you get immune evasions. And the real things that can affect mitochondria, it's not just sugar and having a bad diet, what everybody's focusing on, but things like infections that people never get tested. It's very rare for oncology patients to get thorough infectious testing. Virus, bacterial, fungal, parasitic, mycotoxins. When you start looking at all these, people we see have infections. We just recently saw a paper published that Lyme disease was linked to breast cancer. We've been testing for that for 20 years. I'm so happy to see that that's coming out. But there are infections and co-infections that are linked to each other that shut down the immune system, and they affect the mitochondria. Chemical toxins, all of these pesticides in our foods, chemicals, heavy metals. If these things aren't cleaned out, our mitochondria's ability to burn clean energy and off oxygen and energy is weakened, and that pushes it. The other part of it is the mutation of the cancer cells. So that continues to mutate and shift, making late-stage cancers more difficult to treat. And actually things like high-dose chemo and the wrong chemo really push that. They push that resistance. So genes and metabolism, the two of these things, cancer grows, spreads, you get mutational shifts inside, you get shifts on the mitochondrial side mutationally, you get it at the tumor or the cancer cell level with mutation, mutations. So these two things are involved in cancer. And so it's important to understand that it's biphasic and you need to treat it biphasic. That's why precision targeting is so important, because you're not just treating one or the other. I can say this. For the last 2.5 decades, we've been putting people on ketogenic diets or low sugar diets to help them with their cancer. And the patients don't go into remission from that. They need combination care. They have infections, chemical toxins, heavy metals, but they also have mutations at the tumor level. They have immune system problems. These all need to be addressed. So what happens is when you have these problems, it's pushing inflammation, it's pushing immune evasion. Tumor microenvironment, which we can test for, blocks the immune system from doing its work. It promotes the growth of cancer's blood vessels, so these cells slip out and they set up in other parts of the body. They can go to the bone, the liver, the brain. They metastasize, all because of these environments, this acidity, this poor area. So this is why your cancer care has to have all these components working together, but not randomly, but precise for you. So the plan is not let's just throw medicine at it. The plan is to measure and find the drivers for you. Then we match the treatments and the right drivers for you. Testing with precision allows us to address these 1,000+ markers and custom build the care versus 24 data points, which is for the averages, and these double-blind placebo clinical trials, which is what every cancer facility does. Precision testing is so important because today we have the tools, we have the deep learning, we have AI, they can go way beyond just standard biopsy and tumor markers and imaging. We can look at DNA, next generation sequencing. We can see the breaks in the DNA, what targets are best. Transcriptomics, the RNA, the messaging of where the cancer is going, what's making it grow and spread, and shut that down. And then immune profiling, so we can really understand the immune system and what you need for your immune system to work. And I always say spatial biology, if you watch my program, spatial biology is understanding the neighborhoods of cells and how your immune system is responding by actually visualizing them and their quantity and their presence and what's going to work and not work. This is thousands of data points. This takes the guesswork out. And according to the peer-reviewed studies, transcriptomics can expand treatment options significantly and the right matches for you. That's just one. Can you imagine combining all these together? That's the work we've done. That's why we're excited about finally ending cancer by using the right targets. The immune system can be unblocked and people can be well. So the answer is early detection, but even with people with later or complex cancers, it's about testing and targeting. We can use RNA signatures to predict drugs that may shut down these tumors right now, so we don't have to wait. This is available right now. And according to Columbia-led work, oncotargets and different drug like transcriptome guides, these are starting to really give the right drug targets and combinations, master regulators and pathways in cancer. So we don't need to guess. We can use data. And the part of the problem we have is in conventional oncology, they're just not trained in molecular targeting. They're trained in the NCCN guidelines. These are the standard population-based care for big hospitals and facilities. This is what insurance covers. This is what standard of care is. But we need this targeting. This is what we believe saves and extends lives greatly. We need an immune-centric planning. It means the immune system is at the core. Why did the immune system stop working? What do we need to do to get it back online? How do we target it specifically? And how do we see that from the spatial biology and from immune profiling? And how do we custom build that? How do we take a cold tumor, make it hot, meaning responsive? And then these cells are so important because the natural killer cells is what the Lord has given us that does two things, kills virus and kills cancer cells. And when it knows where to go, it can just go and kill the cells. But it gets evaded because of all these mechanisms and we can turn it back on. Sometimes we need to go beyond PD-1 inhibitors. PD-1 inhibitors can be helpful as immunotherapy, but they're not good alone because in only 19% of the cases, according to Frontier in Oncology, do they work long-term. So you need other combinations because it's only one aspect, meaning what are the right combinations you need? So that's the key, right? Targeting, smart, get to it early stages, screening the cancer. This is going to change the game. We have tools now that are better than mammograms. You can use QT breast ultrasounds, far more imaging, visibility, MRI, giving us a real understanding of what's going on. These liquid biopsy tests where we can just test the blood and look at 50, 70 cancers and say, okay, you're likely to have this one. Let's double check, find it, get rid of it. It's done. It could be a quick freeze the tumor. Or, hey, you don't even have a tumor yet. Let's change the cellular environment in your body with the deeper testing so you don't get tumors to begin with in the first place. This is why I believe there's an end to cancer. It's this precision targeting. It's what we see in our work. And the earlier people begin it, the better the results. Instead of the NCCN guideline protocols, I believe this precision is the way forward. So if you select treatment and immunotherapy and causative agents and you fix the mitochondria and you go after these mutations using all these targets, you are now in the future of oncology. And now I believe your advantages have increased tremendously. The published literature shows that whenever we use precision, you can look at iPredict and Wither and other studies, outcomes improve incredibly. Our own published study in 2024 showed that we had 35 times better outcomes. That's 35 times with a 43% 3 times better quality of life using all these matching methods. And that was in 24. That's getting better. Technology's improving. We're evolving. Every several months, we're adding to our algorithms and improving. And then when we have the data, we don't have to have the side effects. Cancer doesn't have to be scary. We don't have to lose our hair. We don't have to get weak. We can just give microdose, targeted treatment, manage it correctly, rebuild the immune system, get people healthy, and get them back to their life. That's the key. Better delivery, better targets, better planning. Everywhere, in every aspect. That's how we end cancer. We don't just accept what's there. We don't accept, oh, I'm going to get this. There's nothing else I can do. No, we get the data to drive. We get the planning to guide. And when we do that, that's where we see the great work. We get our immune system working. We shift our immune system from being evaded to become the great powerhouses they are, to go after these cells. You know, the immune system can think. It's not like a drug. Once it knows where to go, it can sniff out, find the tumors, find early cancer cells, and eliminate them. So it's so important that our immune system's operating and it's visible. And there are tools and methodologies that we use with testing to help turn that immune system back on. So how do we keep people in remission once they're in remission? You might be already in remission. It's the same thing. It's this testing. Instead of waiting for a tumor imaging or a tumor marker testing, which are lagging indicators, we like leading. We use both, but leading indicators. We're looking at that liquid biopsy again, circulating tumor cells, CT-free DNA, methylation scores. This data is telling us, is this cancer coming back? Is it multi-drug resistant? Let's get on it before the tumor comes back, shift it, and then we hold the remission. And the longer we hold the remission, the patient has long-term remission, which is the goal. We're not into managing cancer. Our goal is to cure it. It is the goal. It should remain the goal. And I say this because 90+% of the drugs that are developed are to manage cancer. Most of what's going on in all the major cancer hospitals manage cancer with late-stage disease. And I'm saying with precision oncology, we need to shift that. And our goal needs to be to remove these cancers and to go after long-term remission, dare say cure. So that's what precision does. It looks for this real framework, real data, real guiding, gets the guesswork out, removes the fear, and puts planning with precision right at the center of the model. That's how we end cancer. That's how we get to the point where this disease, from early detection to late stage, we get results where we're not scared of family members and people we love dying, but we're changing the course of the disease. By the grace of God, we have this technology. We need to utilize it in the right way. And we need insurance companies to get on board. And we need everybody to understand this is the way out. It's not in the current model. Current model does what it does in early stage disease, is effective. Late stage disease, not so effective. And so instead of using population data, we need to use precision data that is specific for your cancer. Protect your immune system, fix the causative agents. You know, we have in our environment so many toxins. We've seen it. It's in the food, air, water. We're seeing even government get involved in trying to clean this up, but we need to get beyond that. People have infections, chemicals, heavy metals, all these different things, and we need to address those so that they can live a long, blessed life, even beyond cancer. Even if you're in cancer remission, get these cause root analysis tested, improve them. So you help the cancer from not coming back and prevent other diseases, heart disease, diabetes, other things that can come along. That's why this is how we end cancer. We end it because when you end cancer, you're also, in some of these methods, also ending other chronic diseases because they overlap. Isn't that interesting? They overlap. Immune system evasion, metabolic problems, there's overlap to heart disease and diabetes and other diseases, even Alzheimer's and dementia. So when we get to these root cause analysis, we can actually help people with these other risk factors. We can remove fear, lay the groundwork, and get rid of cancer. We can start treating the real hallmarks of cancer. These are the targets that are important, and not just give chemo that we may think work or not work, but give targets. We can be so precise on how we deliver it that we remove most of the side effects and help people move on with their life. Good mapping, good targeting. So these are the questions you need to be asking. How are we going to overcome cancer so it ends? It's going to be precision. It's going to be AI deep learning. It's already available. The DNA, RNA, immune profiling, spatial biology. It's the work we do right now and have been doing. And it's evidence-based. And this is where we want to go. Dosing strategies that are specific to the patient, immune selection targeted to the patient. This is how we change the game on cancer. This is how it doesn't become a death anymore for people. This is how people can live long, blessed lives. This is how we avoid multi-drug resistance, because we're targeted, we're monitoring, and this is the way forward. I believe God has designed our bodies to heal, and if we give it the right things and the right doses, it can help us. There needs to be an unbiased approach, the right targets for you, whether conventional, whether they're FDA approved, off-label, or integrative. The combinations that are right for you are so important, and to use precision for healing. I hope this was helpful, and may the Lord bless you on your journey to healing.